The 2 Count, where comedy meets wrestling. Please comment, share, and like, and if you're watching the live stream, join us with your comments and questions. And now here are the hosts of the 2 Count, comedian John Russell, and wrestling broadcaster Big Ace.
Hey everybody, whoops, I gotta get that off the screen, don't I? Yeah, well, it's been a while since I've been here. Ladies and gentlemen, John Russell alongside Big Ace. Good evening to all of you. Hope you're having a great night, week, whatever. You're watching the 2 Count. We're going to have Corey Adam, comedian. He's got 2 albums, I think, right now on stand-up records, and another one in the hopper ready to come out. So he'll be joining us in about 10 minutes or so. He is a huge wrestling fan. You can watch him. He's got a daily show also on Twitch, which is called Twitch Talk. So please, if you got any comedy questions, we can talk to him about that. I want to just say, for those of you that are watching, we have, after my plea of you putting your Jericho stories on, Dan is the only one that even gave us one. Good old Dan Frank. And thanks, Dan. We appreciate that.
Dan, the winner so far. You guys
you're the winner, man. And I already
winning.
And here's the thing, because he's been watching us, I send him a shirt anyway. So I'll send him some more shit. But I mean, it's like, come on, man. Anyway, you know how it is. It's hard to get people to do things that are, I don't know. Anyway, so there's a lot of stuff to talk about in wrestling this week. One of the big things is tomorrow, July 15th, is the day that all the released WWE talent can go and work for whoever they want to, which is kind of interesting. And I think there are a lot of guys that are going to work. I mean, we know rumors already that Anderson and Gallows and Heath may go to Impact, which will be interesting. We found out that Miro / Rusev isn't going anywhere because he caught the COVID. He caught it from Lana's mom, apparently.
I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be hard to call him Miro. I don't know if I like that.
I don't know.
He can't. I don't think he can use Rusev because it's probably owned by WWE, and I know he said he would never do it. But I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. It's just whatever. I mean, cool. Whatever. That's his name. I guess it's like his middle name or something for real.
I think it's his first name.
Oh, first name. Whatever.
Miroslav. His first name is Miroslav.
Oh, he should just be Miroslav then. Like, get the full name.
I would use the full thing.
Hell yeah.
I agree with you.
More intimidated. You're gonna fight Miro. You're gonna fight Miroslav. Wait,
yeah. Now I'm fear. Now I got a little fear in my heart.
Mr. Slav is gonna kill me. What's up?
Got a little fear in the heart there. But anyway,
that's gonna be this next week or so too, or just these next few big shows that aren't WWE. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
I mean, it's going to be cool to see who falls where. It's going to be cool to see who is a surprise. There's every possibility that we could have some surprises tomorrow night on Dynamite or / Fight for the Fallen, which in and of itself is going to be kind of a fun show to watch. So yeah, it's kind of a big week for wrestling, with a couple of exceptions.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good week though. We got a lot of stuff to watch. You know, you got your weekly shows, and then you said they got Fight for the Fallen. So Moxley making his big return. That's gonna be cool.
And Moxley and Cage is gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great match. I mean, a lot of good stuff's happening on the AEW side, and there's good stuff happening on WWE too. Man, I'll tell you what, man. Good move bringing Baszler back finally.
Yeah, that was the big thing that was good. I mean, that was my biggest takeaway from Raw was her coming back, and I love the fact that she, even though it was cartoonish, I love the fact that she beat up the ninjas.
It was cartoonish, but it was also like, dude, they killed her.
Oh, dude, I know they did.
Her over at Mania, they killed her.
Yeah,
so I mean,
she was crushed.
Anything to make her look a little bit tougher was going to help her at this point. So I thought it was good because too, it started with the ninjas, but then you had both Tozawa and Truth both be like, all right.
Yeah.
So I mean, I liked it. I think it was good. And then having Bianca Belair make her come back in the night, that's a great setup. I think the Iconics are firing hot right now.
Yep.
Great tag match.
Yeah.
Ladies tag match, the Kabuki Warriors and Sasha Banks and Bailey. Yeah, man.
I think it's interesting because so you got a couple of things. You get the idea, and they're talking about the return of the Women's Evolution pay-per-view too, which would be awesome. But I think they're in a spot where they finally realized, hey, we really built our whole division on two women, and they both left at the same time. For reasons that are absolutely understandable. And so now what do, right? And it's just like, I mean, I can't. I mean, you had your go home Raw for Extreme Rules, and where the hell's Nia Jax? She's the one that's fighting the champion. We ain't seen her in 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know what the hell they're doing. And then
I also wonder too how much is not being said, like, pandemic wise, stuff like that, or people stay home, they don't feel safe. I don't know. It was interesting to see that there was talk about how Kevin Owens confronted McMahon over the pandemic and was basically like, hey, we got to do better. And that's how they kind of started to do the whole, like, if you don't wear it, you're going to get fined now. Kevin Owens was like, I don't feel safe. So you wonder, like, how much of that is affecting that no one knows. I mean, there's stuff that everybody knows, but you wonder how much they've actually been able to keep quiet and what that's affecting, because that is weird. Where is Nia Jax?
Yeah.
I mean, and then even like the McIntyre, I mean, it had the opening segment and stuff, but I mean, I feel like they could have did a lot more with that whole Ziggler and his feud leading into this match than well, I'll tell you what. Here's my theory on this stuff. All right. They have seen, WWE has seen, and they always, we're not counter programming. My ass, they're not counter programming. But I think what happens is they've seen that AEW is not afraid to put a real banger of a match on to start the show. Like last week, the tag championship match, which was awesome, starts the show. And so I think they're trying to do that without actually sort of doing it. You know what I mean? Yeah, that, and they're missing on, like, dude, just actually schedule matches. Like, how many times does a match start out as a singles match? Next thing you know, it's a tag match. Next thing you know, it's an elimination match or that. And, like, let a match actually finish. That's something you don't see a lot happening anymore either.
I mean,
but you know what I do like, though? I have to admit, I'm really kind of digging the whole reinventing the Legend Killer.
Yeah.
I mean, killing it. Like, to the point that, like, yeah, I'd be all up for him going on another title run with this.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's killing it right now. And to be honest, to me, it doesn't have all to do with the whole Edge thing either. Like,
no.
The shit he's saying and having Flair involved, and then now seeing, like, where he's like, I don't trust you either, though, man, yeah, like, I could be into that.
I'll tell you what, my favorite part of Raw, and this is, I just have a hard time because it's like in 3 hours, my favorite part was when, for God's sakes, my favorite part was when Nature Boy was talking to Big Show.
Yeah.
That was my favorit part of the whole show because it seemed real.
Right. Yeah. That I enjoyed Kevin Owens kind of heckling Rollins during their match a little bit, like when he was trying to run. Where are you going? Like, where are you trying to go? Like, just, oh, and I did it. Like, oh, it was just funny. Like, they have people who are doing really good things right now. They just got to start putting the pieces together correctly.
Yeah.
Have a good show top to bottom. I really think that WWE, because here's the thing, anybody who thinks they can't actually produce a good show, like they're not actually capable of it, you're wrong. They are. They just don't always
just not
do it.
They're just not doing it.
But they are very capable. They have the talent. They have the production value. They have the money behind the thing. They have the history behind the company too. I mean, you got to think, when you think greatest matches in the world, some of them do come from WWF and E. So it's like, they do know what they're doing. It's just, we are seeing the tail end. It sounds weird to say that, of probably Vince McMahon's run though.
Yeah.
So
well,
this isn't a surprise, I guess you could say, when you see people get to the end of their career and things may not be as good as they were in their stride. But I thought I also saw something to where he will leave Triple H in power. Did you see that?
No, I didn't, but it doesn't surprise me at all.
Well, one of the kids with Triple H.
Well, but he's, let's be honest.
Like it's just him and Stephanie.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's him and Stephanie, and I'm sure that if needed, Shane will be involved too. But I mean, Triple H has been in the wrestling business as a performer, and I mean, Shane, Shane's kind of a half-ass performer, and I don't mean that with any disrespect, but it's like that isn't his. It's not his forte. It's not what his goal ever was.
The thing too, that like, you had Triple H kind of take a lot of heat for a good run of his early career in WWE because of the whole curtain call.
Yeah.
So you got to think he's on both sides of this. He understands where a talent's coming from. He understands those pressures and trying to get through to the top. He understands being on that business end. There's a reason he's made NXT so successful that he has since he took over that. I mean, that's one thing. If you are not liking WWE now, because a lot of people aren't, which again, whatever, that's everybody's up to their own opinion. It's wrestling, so I'm in. But like, the future could potentially be really great when Triple H does take over.
Yeah.
Because I mean, man, because he still has a love for actual wrestling too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, so here's the thing. I haven't watched NXT an entire show in I don't know how long. I'll go back and I'll, after the fact, pick out the matches that I know are interesting and I'm going to watch. All right. I don't notice lack of psychology over there like I noticed. They don't give it. I mean, it seems like they just don't give a rat's ass on the main roster. Case in point, it was going around the internet on Friday night and Saturday that the absolute worst SmackDown that's ever been broadcast was the one that took place on July the 10th. And one of the big reasons that people threw a hissy fit was because of this. Ta-da! The karaoke showdown. Are you kidding me? My God, that's must-view television. Now, these women are all athletes and they do what they're told, and this is not a slam on them, but God damn it, none of them can sing for fuck.
It's funny. Dude, you remember Jillian?
Yes.
That was the only time the singing was okay, because it was like, the joke is she's bad. You know what I mean? But when you do this, and it's just like, you're really just making these girls embarrass themselves. And then on top of that, it's like, damn, man. Remember how we got rid of bra and panty matches and how we were letting women actually wrestle and do what they can do and wow people, and now we're resorting back to just trick and pony shows inside the ring.
But here's the thing: it's just them waving a big old flag that says, "Hey, we can't fill this time. We can't fill it. Don't know what to do. Don't." And if that's not enough for you, all right, I don't care who wins or loses. In 2 hours of wrestling, here's what you got. First match, roll up. Second match, roll up. Third match, replay from a pay-per-view. Next thing, karaoke challenge, followed by a match between them. Guess what? No contest. Followed by a tag team championship match with, guess what? No contest. So in 2 hours of wrestling, there were 2 roll-ups, and that was it. I don't understand I don't understand what they're doing. I mean, dude, we could just, you and me could just draw straws and figure out what the hell's going to happen. It's like, I don't understand why they're doing that
part
shit.
About it is it's just they're not using people that they could be using that are just not anything.
They're not used. See, this is one of the problems, I think. You as a comedian, and when Corey comes on, we'll talk with him about that a little bit too. As a comedian, we always see these things. WWE's looking for writers because it pops up in our thing. They like to get people that are performers and have some experience and but it's like the whole Russo thing. You know, it's like, if you don't know how that shit works and what people can do, you can't just write garbage for them. You know, and that's what it is. That's I mean, from every indication from everybody that's left, it's just like, hey, here's some hot garbage we want you to do, and you're under contract, so guess what, you have to do it. And this is certainly not a slam, and we always talk about it's not a slam on the talent by any means, but it's just like, hey, you know what, your new gimmick should be throwing cards at dudes. Why? Doesn't make any difference. Vince likes it. Or one of the writers saw it on goddamn Penn and Teller and thought, hey, that'll work. That's interesting. People liked it. Let's have them throw cards. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's just a weird time. I think, I don't know. Like I said, I think we're getting towards the end of Vince McMahon's run. I really think we are. Not saying that I think he's going to like die soon, but I just think we're getting near him being done, especially after the year he's had this year. Big blows right after one another. And I think maybe now might be a good case of a little bit of a struggle too, of maybe being like, hey, maybe give some of this up now, you know, trying to kind of, I don't know. Cause the other thing too is, I've heard that he's not around as much at all the tapings right now, obviously because of the pandemic. So you got to wonder too, like what's getting lost in translation. But I don't know, man. It's rough. It's rough. I'll give you that. It is rough to watch, and that I don't watch SmackDown, and I'm really interested to see what Fox is going to do with that. But because they can't be happy about this.
Well, here's the other thing.
I think also they were really banking on. Because when did they start on Fox?
Was it October?
Was it?
I think.
Because the other thing too is I think they were doing. I mean, let's be honest. The numbers for SmackDown every week keep going down. Last week, ratings wise, it was the worst SmackDown they've ever had ratings wise, and every week it keeps going down. But you wonder how much viewers they're missing from casual fans who don't always remember it's on, but would be watching a basketball game or a NASCAR race or a football game and see the advertisement like, oh shit, that's right, tomorrow night SmackDown's on, I'm going to watch it. You know, how much of that's missing that Fox was like, we're going to get that crowd, that casual crowd, we're going to get them because we're, you know, one of the biggest networks. So, yeah, I wonder how much that has to do with it. But I mean, yeah, that's just, again, it wasn't a great SmackDown. So obviously changes have to happen with the product. Man, I'm realizing how dusty some of my stuff is right now. I need to clean it.
No, that's good. You can share it with everybody. All right, folks.
It's bothering me.
Well, you can clean it up later. Ladies and gentlemen, right now, we're joined by stand-up records recording artist and the host of Twitch Talk, daily show on Twitch. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Corey Adam to the show. There he is. Good to see you, Corey.
What up?
Hello.
My green screen is not big enough.
Yeah, it is. It looks like a brick wall.
Yeah, and then like a room.
That's right.
Well,
At least it's green.
It's. I can just barely see the light coming coming from behind it.
I like it.
So how are you, buddy?
Good, yourself?
Very, very good. Corey and I have known each other for, God, man, almost 15 years.
Has it been that long?
Well, at least 12.
Yowzers.
Yeah, it's a long
I say
time.
that every year too, when he's like, you know how long we've been friends for?
He does that all the time.
I do that to everybody because everybody I know is younger than me. Well, except for a couple of guys, like Tom Baumgartner.
What is the thing on Twitch for you guys? I'm trying to host your channel.
Oh, it's I have it on the WrestleMania account.
RUSSEL Mania?
RUSSELL Mania.
Wait, hold on. RUSSEL L, two L's?
2 L's, yes. 2 S's, 2 L's.
Crazy.
Yeah, I know. Here, oh, you know what? Actually, let me copy that. And I'll just put this link right up here in the comments. Can you see
How
the
about that?
Oh, you got it?
So no, I can do it right now. Where's
Okay.
the comments? Doesn't show me the comments?
It will.
Okay.
There we go. Ooh, I put it all over the place. So that's over there on the left side,
Got it.
right side. Yeah. Anyway, so that's what it is. See, we don't know enough about Twitch to because we're on 4 platforms. We go on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, and so we're not in the same position as you are, where we can put it on Twitch and you, because my gosh, folks, if you want to watch a fun show, watch Corey's show. It's on from about 10 until 1 every day. Well, Monday through Friday anyway.
Monday through Friday, baby.
And he's got a lot of cool things. It's almost like he's the Tuesday night Messiah with the light coming in through.
Here, I can do this
beautiful.
too. Here, let's see if this helps. Maybe that'll eliminate some of it.
Oh yeah, that helps a lot. Except
There. Oh yeah, now there's a giant glare over there. Okay, here.
well, it was, to be fair, it was over there before. Anyway, so and I come on with you just pull your curtain a little more.
It's not a curtain is the problem.
Oh,
That's fine. I'll just whatever. Who cares? The main thing is, ooh, I wonder. Hold on, I got an idea. Yeah. Hold on. This is some high tech stuff right here.
I see it.
Just a little canopy. Let's there we go. Nope. Okay, that's fine. I'll just hold this right here. It's fine. No big deal. Everything's fine. It's okay.
We're all on board. We're all on board.
All okay.
So I go on with Corey every Thursday, and we do a little bit of a wrestling rundown. We talk a little bit about news, and then we go through lists, which is kind of fun. We went through our top 10 feuds last week, and
if this works, I'm
yeah,
gonna
try
laugh.
that.
All right, that didn't work.
That's, you know what? Yeah, that works. But
I'm just gonna
Yep.
like that.
There you go.
Right?
Yep.
There we go.
you almost got it. There you go.
Resting.
Hi. What are you guys talking about? What are you thinking?
Stop moving. Anyway, so tell us a little bit about when you started watching wrestling.
I don't know. I don't honestly like here. Here's what I'm gonna do. There we
go.
I'll be off kilter, but whatever. There, fine, good enough.
Perfect.
Except for this fucking pop guard now. God damn it, everything's the worst right now. There we go. Damn it, that didn't work at all. There we go. There, perfect.
Now
Hi.
we're talking.
Now we're talking. Okay, what was the question?
So when would you say you started watching wrestling? Were you a young kid or?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I don't even remember when I started. Like, it's something that it just feels like I've always watched. Like I'm trying to remember. Like I can remember early on, like I remember like Ted DiBiase, like early on. I remember I specifically remember like the Undertaker tombstone pile driving Hogan, because I fucking hated Hogan as a kid. I was a Savage guy, and all my friends always thought that was stupid, but you know, look at how that played out. Seems like I was it's so dumb. You don't like Hulk Hogan? It's like, yeah, I'm sorry that like leg kicks don't do, or leg drops don't do anything for me, guys. My bad.
That's awesome.
So
I never liked him. Like, it's so weird because, like, you know, probably should have, but like, I just don't care. I never really have.
You know, he played his purpose though, because I was a huge fan as a little kid, but as like a few years into me liking wrestling, I smartened up pretty quick and was like, okay, screw this dude. Like, I was more into like Perfect and Heenan and stuff like that. You know, once I started realizing what they were really doing, I was like, these guys are way more fun to watch than the guy that just keeps telling me the same shit and then does the same thing every match.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and like I've said over and over again, and Russell hears me say it all the time. If I had a Mount Rushmore of wrestling, it would be the Undertaker and all three Mick Foleys. Like, that's what it would be. It's just what I love. Like, it's like, I mean, for me, like, Mick Foley was real early on, and like I was really big in like ECW. I got lucky because I got into a lot of the weird independent circuits.
Nice.
I had a buddy of mine whose dad was a wrestler, and so he got us into like a bunch of shit. So like ECW specifically, I think like that was a real like get into wrestling moment for me, was ECW, because I mean I love that shit. Sabu and Rob Van Dam, and then again you have Terry Funk, you have Mick Foley there for a while, the Dudley brothers. I mean, like all of them, and it's always followed it. But I jump around. Like my whole thing, and Russell and I were talking about this, is that I got out of wrestling because I thought I hated it. And it turns out I just hated what WWE became, because the moment I started ingesting other stuff, I mean, like First Wrestling here in Minnesota, like WrestlePalooza is maybe one of my, like every year I go to it and in January, and it's my favorite thing ever. It always is. And it's just, you go, it's at First Ave, and just like there's this weird, interesting interaction with independent wrestling that regular wrestling just doesn't have, or at least didn't have until the advent of AEW. And now I think AEW is slowly bringing me back in, because it's a lot of the people I liked. And I was pretty big on Ring of Honor before they got poached. Like once all their talent got poached, I was like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Hey, I think the sun's gone.
There you go. Yeah, that was a bad moment for ROH. Just took a big hit.
Well, it's kind of on them. I mean, like, I don't know. They like, the problem is that they structured their contracts so that everybody could work with Japan, which is fine. Like, that's what they needed to elevate. But the loopholes in those contracts makes it very easy for people to just shark. And I mean, like, God help them if the Brascos ever leave, because they're like, the Brascos and Skrull are like all they have left anymore.
Right.
Because I can't, like, I swear to God, to fucking
you
God,
don't like PCO?
if I have to watch another fucking POC match, I'm gonna fucking kill somebody. Oh, hey, look, fucking goddamn rotund fucking Christopher Lloyd is fucking not really working and winning a match again. Whoop-de fucking do.
Yeah, I haven't watched that forever. Is Dalton Castle still under contract?
Yep. Castle's pretty good too. We actually went over it on Thursday. We're looking at some of them, but it's like, yeah, the people they have left, it's just like, it's not what it was. I mean, they had a really, really strong, like 8 months where, and I mean, like half of your AEW roster was there. And even now that NWA fucked up, I mean, like Colt Cabana's in AEW now. Like, I mean, they're just grabbing everybody. And that's like, the way that AEW is going about wrestling is, in my opinion, the right way. And it's interesting to me as somebody that, as an adult man, I was like, oh, I just don't really like wrestling. I guess it was just something I liked as a kid. And then I just interacted with other products, and I was like, oh, or this other product is shit.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the problem with the monopoly. I mean, nobody else could get on TV, and let's be honest, ROH could have if they wanted to. They could have pushed the envelope. It's all Sinclair Broadcasting.
They were on TV. They were on Sundays.
So here's the thing. They still are. But sure. Sinclair Broadcasting has just as much money as Vince McMahon does. They just choose. I mean, it's just that they're not all wrestling. So they got deep enough pockets that if they wanted to make it into something, they could. But obviously, they're in a situation where they're making enough money that they don't care to push it, because you got to think it doesn't cost us much. We're playing our shit at 10 o'clock on Saturday and 1 o'clock on Sunday. And I just happened to start seeing it pop up now on Fox Sports North occasionally.
Sure.
But it's just like, if it doesn't cost them any money and they're making money, they're not going to give a shit. They're not concerned with the product. It's almost like the old before Ted Turner was in charge at WCW, when you had all of those guys, the Jim Herds of the world that didn't, they were business guys. They weren't wrestling guys. And it's like, well, as long as it's making money, we don't give a shit.
Right. Well, and that's kind of what happened with like TNA. You know, like it's like they ran that product into the ground. Like it started out, it was not the best product, but it got a little bit better, and then they just ran the wheels off it. They kind of did the same thing to WCW towards the end when they knew they were going to sell it.
Right.
Well, and a lot of it was that in order for WCW to become what it was, they gave a lot of that talent, like managerial stuff, like booking stuff, and it was sort of fucked it all up because they were not running it as a business. And that was always, when we talked about AEW, that was always one of the concerns, is the four guys running it, other than Tony Khan, are wrestlers. God damn, we sure hope they don't book themselves in every goddamn thing like they did at WCW.
They had the right four to do that, though, is the difference. I mean,
well, right.
Who knew, like, you know, again, like you and I have talked about forever. I was never the biggest Jericho fan, but at some point you just have to be like, God damn it, he's real good. And it's like, it's one of those things. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Tom Brady. I have always fucking hated Tom Brady. I just have. I've never liked him. I think he's trash, but at some point you have to look at everything that's going on and say, oh, he is one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. You know, same thing with Jericho. Like, and at Jericho, I feel like I've completely turned around. Like, AEW really made me a Jericho fan. Like, I knew the stuff he could do, but it's like, is there anything this motherfucker can't do? It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun watching what they were doing and seeing Chris Jericho hop onto that. See, that was fun to see him jump back into the indies, you know, when he was doing New Japan and stuff. That was a lot of fun, because just him being on New Japan, first of all, was just like, people were like, wait, what? But he only does WWE, you know? So, and then for him to just kind of not care either and just go all in because he was having a good time.
And plus, I think that's the thing is for wrestlers, is like, you can't go to Japan and not give it your all, because the fans are so much fun. You know, I mean, again, like my favorite wrestler is Mick Foley, and like some of the greatest matches you'll ever see are fucking Cactus Jack and Terry Funk in Japan. I mean, some of those fucking Japanese death matches are fun. And this is, you know, before it got all fucking like weird fucking like let's drink each other's blood hardcore. I mean, this was like fucking barbed wire and like the shit that was like, it seemed brutal, but by today's standards is pretty like today's standards, it's just shit that happens in a match, like pins fall anywhere match, you know. But like you go to like fucking Russia and they're like leg dropping people with like circular saws and shit.
Oh man, do you ever watch any of the CZW Tournament of Death?
I've seen a couple of those matches, but I haven't seen all of it.
Those are crazy shows. I've been to two CZW shows in person and have watched people leave.
Yeah. So... A buddy of mine, Alex Jaffe, he's got videos and videos and videos of stuff, and he was showing me some of them. It's like, fuck, dude.
Yeah, it's brutal.
And that's the thing, is like, I cut my teeth on brutal, or what I thought was brutal. It's you know, it's like watching like Married with Children, like when it was coming out, and you're like, God, this is so lewd and whatever. Go back and watch it now. It's so tame by today's standards. You're like, what the fuck? I don't even like, all right. Or like even just metal music. I remember when I was a kid, White Zombie just sounded like the fucking like fiddle of Satan. And now it's like not even that loud, you know, because like it's just how it is. High on Fire like grinds out harder than them in their opening chorus.
Oh, God. Say, I just want to say hey to Dan Frank. Dan Frank is a great fan of ours. And we're happy you got that shirt. And by the way, so far you're the only one that's entered in the contest, so you might get another shirt and a gift card, Dan.
You're winning. Winning 2 weeks though. Anybody watching 2 weeks, if you're on the cruise, get your stories in.
Yep. Oh my God.
The Jericho cruise, right?
Yes. We're both excited to go on it. Yeah, it's I mean, again, that's Jericho coming up with just a genius idea that works. I mean, he's just such a smart businessman, you know. Yep, Motley Crue, hell yes. You got to be close to my age.
Round and round. Or no, that's Rat.
No, that's
Never mind.
Rat.
Same
Yeah,
thing. Same
that
thing.
commercial though. Is really
Same
Kickstart
thing.
My Heart. Yeah, that commercial. Jesus.
I know that's hilarious.
What? Oh, that Geico commercial. Yeah, that's right. It's got a little bit of a rap problem. Round and round.
Dude, yeah, no, the cruise was genius though. I mean, I guess he did the Kiss cruises, and that's where he got the idea.
Yeah.
But because I think what was it? WCW did one way back in the day. I guess they did like a day or two, like a one night cruise or something. And I think WWE did something similar to it, but there was no wrestling. It was just they were on there and you got like autographs on the boat.
Oh,
so yeah, it's pretty interesting to see how the first one went, and so many people were like, I don't know about that. Wrestling on a cruise. I don't know. To now they're doing a third one, and it sold out. What did we say? 4 days after going on sale.
4 days open to the public, sold out in 4 days. It's just amazing to me that, and it goes back that as a comedian, you know this. Louis Anderson, who's a great comedian from Minneapolis, and has reinvented himself just like Jericho numerous times. One of his great quotes is, "You know what? You really only need about 100,000 people to love you. You know, 100,000 people you can make a good living with," and it's true. I mean, and it's like the same thing. It's like Jericho has found this niche of people that are just absolutely rabid for him, anything he does, for the band.
Like, how much
Fosse.
of that is like, but how much of that is Jericho, and how much of that is the fact that like these larger than life characters don't exist? I mean, like, you know, you look at like even in the Attitude Era, you had like there were like 17 people that were like Jericho-esque, but now there's nobody. I mean, like.
Yeah.
You know, you look at the Prime, it's funny because everybody shits all over the Attitude Era, but I mean, like, you had, like, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Steve Austin, The Rock, like, Shawn Michaels, all in their prime.
I was just
and, like,
in some promos from then with a buddy the other day, and I was telling him the same thing. I was like, dude, it is not like this anymore. There's, like, maybe 2, like, headliners where that whole roster was headliners.
Yeah. Well, and I was saying this, so I've been going back watching some career. It's crazy. And, like, you don't, like... As I was going back looking, because it started out where I was just like, I'm going to watch all the Hell in the Cells. Motherfucker's still doing it. It's crazy.
Yeah, that definitely is, because I was at WrestleMania. What was it? Was it 26?
The one that was here?
No. 26 in Arizona. Was that when?
Okay.
Or when Michaels retired? So like I was there for that, and you know, even being there that night, I was like, dude, this didn't beat last year's Taker and Michaels, but this was still there. You know what I mean? Like, it was still an amazing match, and then cranked out 2 more with Triple H immediately. Like, he had 4 straight just stellar matches, and that was at a time where he was really only doing very light work. You know what I mean? Like,
well, and that's like the thing. I don't know if you guys have watched much of that Last Ride stuff, but like, it's really interesting watching the behind the scenes with him, especially because he was so adamant about that never really getting out during his career. And it's just so interesting to think of, you know, when he goes over the process of how he has to train to get ready for 1 match a year. Because it was literally like, he talks about it in like, I don't know which part it was, but one of the parts of it, he's talking about how like for the last 6 years, it's literally been train to get ready for WrestleMania, do WrestleMania, get all of the surgeries that he didn't get in the meantime, come out of surgery, and then start training for WrestleMania again.
Right. Right.
Yeah. It's just amazing.
Hell of a year. Man, yeah. Yeah. He's one of the very few wrestlers that I've bet that it was like very
right. And that's the thing that's crazy is
ordeal.
like, I think when we're talking greatest wrestlers, I think there are sexier answers. I think, like, you know, you'll find people that'll say Stone Cold. You'll find people that'll say Hogan, The Rock, whoever it is. It doesn't, like, even Jericho probably gets mentioned here and there. But if you stack their careers up nobody comes close. Like, it's not even close. Like, it's crazy. I was looking over some of the stats, and we just don't even realize it, because the thing about The Undertaker is that for most of his career, he was this crowd favorite gimmick-oriented thing that, like, we never really paid attention to his matches or how long he was doing. We just knew, like, and then you look at all the fucking gimmicks, man. Hell in the Cell is him. Casket match is him. It's fucking crazy, and it's over, like, a 20 plus year career. It's fucking nuts. And and then you Dan Frank, you look at the matches early too, like they're all 20 plus. It's crazy.
Yeah. I
think the thing though, when you're looking at the top 10 wrestlers, I think you have to be very clear about what your criteria might be, because there are guys that were good for business. There were guys that were great draws that were not necessarily good wrestlers, Hogan.
Well, I think the thing with Hogan, though, is that Hogan, like, the thing about Hogan specifically is Hogan transcended draw, and he was the one that made it mainstream. He was like the rock and roll guy. He's the reason why it's being done in sold out mega arenas right now. That is all Hogan. And regardless how garbage you think he is, leg drops do suck. You have to give him credit for that, and he gets in the echelon, But then the other thing with The Undertaker that's crazy is, like, that dude had the opportunity to walk to WCW in an era where if he had done that, it would have crippled them. He could have driven WWF or E under, and he didn't. And he stayed, and then, I mean, like you look at the, you and I were talking about this in matches. I mean, the other thing that you can say is that Undertaker's gimmick and who he was is so strong that he got two people over, Mankind and Kane, literally on the strength of his gimmick. That's all. Like, nobody gave a fuck about Isaac Yankem. Like, they still wouldn't. And nothing against Glenn Jacobs. I think Glenn Jacobs is fucking great. I think that he is one of the more underrated wrestlers, because people just think, oh, he's Kane and this and that. But the gimmick of Undertaker is so strong that he was able to get in an entire another person over after the fact when they just wrote him in.
Yeah, because Kane would have been gone otherwise. Glenn would have been out of a job if that.
Right, because Isaac Yankem is trash, and not even the wrestling. The thing about Kane is that he was always a good wrestler.
Yeah.
Even you go back and you watch those Isaac Yankem, like I do feel for wrestlers a lot of the times when you watch them just with a shit gimmick, especially the good ones. You're like, oh, that sucks. Like fucking IRS. That guy could wrestle, but that was the shittiest gimmick ever.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, with Glenn Jacobs, not only was he Isaac Yankem, he was also the second Diesel.
We don't talk about the second Diesel or the second Razor Ramon.
Man.
Come on, man. Those don't exist.
People had to be it.
You mean Big Daddy Fool? No, Big Daddy Fool doesn't exist, bro.
Great.
I don't know, man. So wait a minute.
What?
I was gonna say before you go this, here's a dream match for you. Diesel number 2 versus fake Sting.
Oh, Diesel number 2 all day.
Which fake Sting though?
The fake Sting from WCW.
Yeah, there's technically 3 fake Skings. Skings?
Skings.
What about this? Right? Crush 1 versus Crush 3.
It's just so beautiful.
What about Ultimate Warrior 1 versus Ultimate Warrior 4?
Right.
Or the Dingo Warrior.
That guy died so many times before.
What about Doink versus other Doink versus other Doink versus Dink? Also versus other Dink.
Someone is still being Doink. I don't remember who it was. I saw it like a year ago.
Let it go.
Like someone was there doing the Doink gimmick.
Clowns are scary, but they're not scary enough to get over. Let it go.
Here's the thing, though. You gotta. I mean, there's in wrestling. There's such a huge attachment.
You know what? Hold on.
Nostalgia.
I have been sitting all day. I'm gonna raise up my desk real quick.
Oh, show off.
Yeah.
As long as the sun's not coming through the window again, I don't give a fuck.
Bye. Oh God, I'm drowning. Oh God. Ah! Ah! Oh, there we go.
Excellent. Excellent. So,
my balls is hot. There we go.
So now that we kind of got off track, I want to talk a little bit because I mentioned this with Ace before the show, and it sort of bothers me. And I know you're not even watching WWE.
No, I turned my back completely on WWE. Aside from, I will occasionally check out NXT. Beyond that, I have no interest. Like, their product holds no interest in me. I don't even give a fuck about any of their wrestlers. I don't give a fuck about Roman Reigns, and I never will. I don't give a fuck about who Brock Lesnar is cracking in half. Like, I don't, like, how many times do you want me to watch Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns and act like you have a roster? Get fucked, WWE.
Well, here's the other thing, and I talked about this earlier with
hold on. I do have to say this, though. Bray Wyatt is the exception. Bray Wyatt is the only thing that holds any interest to me as far as character. Like, The Fiend is interesting. It's fun.
Yeah. So last Friday on SmackDown, and I didn't watch it. I just went back and looked at it. But for 2 hours of wrestling, here's your results. A roll-up. Second match, a roll-up. Third match was a replay of a pay-per-view. Second match was a karaoke challenge, which turned into a match that was no contest, and the final match of the show was no contest. I mean, it's just garbage.
Yeah, it's a trash thing, and here's the truth that nobody wants to talk about, but all the fans know: nothing happens till Vince dies and Triple H can take over.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because NXT was his baby, and like, look at how good NXT got. And then what did they do? They fucking poached everybody from NXT and fucking ruined them. Like fucking Aleister Black. Aleister Black and what's that? It's a black dude, like not Venus, but like
Ricochet.
Is it Ricochet?
Ricochet?
Cedric Alexander?
No.
Or
Hold on,
Apollo Crews?
No, I'll find it.
Apollo Crews?
Yeah, maybe.
Either way.
But him and Aleister Black used to have just some of the fucking craziest matchups I've ever seen in my life on NXT. And then when they promoted him up, no, it's not him. I got to figure out who it is. When they promoted them both up, they ruined both the fucking characters. And it's like, you need these. Like fucking, I don't know, man. It's like maybe, and this sounds weird, but maybe Cornette and Pritchard were really necessary to reining Vince in. Like everybody talks about the glory days, but I mean, the reality is you had 4 guys that were all disagreeing and the overall product was awesome. Now you just have fucking McMahon and his yes men, and the product, it's terrible. I went to the ladders, tables, and chairs match here, like whatever it was last like November or whatever.
Yep.
Literally the most boring time. Like I almost left while I was there. Like as I was like, oh, this sucks, I'm gonna leave. They started playing the music for Funhouse, and I'm like, all right, I'll sit down and watch this. But I mean, like at one point they were throwing Kentucky Fried Chicken at each other.
Well, that was a promotional stunt.
But it wasn't a stunt. It was a promotional dud. You have to have a stunt when you're a stunt. That's like saying fucking like Evel Knievel jumping over a lunch table is a stunt. It's not a stunt. It's boring and hackneyed. Cedric Alexander, that's exactly who it is.
Yeah. So, all right. The last thing. So here's what we're getting close again. One of the things I want to do is I want to go through predictions for AEW tomorrow. I want to and we'll see where we go. But I also want to say that having heard that the horror show at Extreme Rules for WWE this Sunday, there's some matches that I'm interested in. But the thing that turns me off about the whole thing is Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins have this eye for an eye match, and it's gotten out that it's going to be cinematic, as I also believe that Bray and Strowman will be. But the cinematic eye for an eye match is said to have a close when somebody pulls the other guy's eye out. They're going to do it CGI. I'm like, you guys are done. You guys are done.
Well, you know what it reminds me of? Like, we were talking about that a lot, but it reminds me of the fucking Kane Undertaker match where they're all like, somebody's going to get lit on fire. And it's like, oh, you mean you're just going to light that one sleeve where he has fire retardant material on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the CGI is going to suck. Like even if they get it right, it's going to suck.
What's funny is someday when they have to go back to arenas, they can't pull the cinematic shit. Because the crowd, like people are like, I'll bitch. They're like, I paid a ticket to be here and I just wasted 20 minutes watching your screen.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't your 5-hour WrestleMania show where you can sneak it in there. Like, not cool.
and here's the other part. Aside from that, and you brought this up last week, Ace. If I'm paying for the WWE network, and they've got a free level and a paid level, they should at least give me something for paying for it that the free people don't get. Free people get almost everything except the pay-per-views.
Oh, you know what else? You know what else? I do have to say 205 is okay. That's a WWE property too, right?
205 Live, yeah.
205 Live is decent. It's not bad. I mean, it's not the best, but it's not bad.
Right. You know, it's interesting though, because you got to look at too, like two of the biggest, like, I guess it's like two of like Vince McMahon's right-hand men like left the company due to him almost, because remember when the two left and the stocks dropped a few months ago?
Yeah.
That was over the fact that he was about to start making them like do actual pay-per-view again. And they were like, you're going to kill the network.
Yeah.
You make people pay $70 to buy WrestleMania and not have it on the network anymore. You're going to kill it. And apparently they were the ones that came up with the network. So when they
I think they had to, like, I honestly do. Like, I think they had to, like, it's one of those things where, like, I think we're getting into the era, and like, I'm an MMA guy too, and you're seeing that more with the UFC and the ESPN deal, is I just think that the model of pay-per-view is dead, and it's just not how people are going to interact. And getting people to pay a subscription is fine. And I don't know how it goes with wrestling, but one of the early problems that we're discovering in MMA with this is that there's no real accurate way to determine which talent should get which part of the gate. So, like, you know, whereas like with pay-per-view, you have pay-per-view points. They can tell who's the draw based on how many pay-per-view points they are. But with these fucking streaming services, like, they can tell somebody's there, but they can't tell how many people are watching that program. You know, because, like, let's say you have a pay-per-view that nobody gives a fuck about. What up, WWE? I'm talking about you. And so instead, we're watching Last Ride. There's no metric for that. It just says this user connected to the streaming service.
Yeah, it's interesting. And having said all of that, I would not pay to see a WWE pay-per-view. But I still have no problem paying for a AEW pay-per-view or an NWA pay-per-view. I paid for those. And I don't have a problem with it because I love that shit. I don't love WWE right now.
I haven't loved it in years, man. Like, it's seriously, like, if it wasn't for just random matchups of people that I remember liking, fuck it, I wouldn't. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just garbage. Like, their main product, like, I don't know. It might as well be fucking Rise Evolve. Who gives a fuck? Like, Rise Evolve is another, I don't know if you guys watch that shit, but, like, the thing is, it's another great thing where they have some decent talent, but they're doing fucking nothing with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... I don't know. Tomorrow, we already mentioned this. Tomorrow is going to be a huge day because all the WWE talent that was released will be free to work for whoever they want to. And
how many people is that?
What was it, Ace? 40?
Yeah, I think it was like 30, 40 people got let go.
Yeah, I mean,
so how many of those will be in AEW tomorrow?
So that's interesting, and that's one of the reasons I kind of want to segue into our predictions for the Fight for the Fallen show, and also, I mean, we can talk about Impact Slammiversary because, as we already mentioned, the rumors are that Anderson, Gallows, and Heath Slater,
dude, if they get Gallows,
are going to show up there. No, dude, I mean, those guys.
It's interesting though too, because then they had that picture of Gallows, Anderson, and the Young Bucks from like
ago, it's and we talked about
the Young Bucks need that though, because I mean, like, if we're all honest, the only people that give the Young Bucks a decent match are the Luchador Brothers, and like, we've just seen it too many times.
Yeah, I'm ready for them to pull the trigger on FTR. Like, I think we've had enough of them not wrestling each other and just being there together.
Yeah,
right.
Like, let's finally just have them start going at it.
Well, here's the other thing, though, too.
Although I don't know, like, tag team wrestling is like old school, not a respected art anymore. So it's kind of cool to see him still there, you know?
And I think the other thing, too, to remember is that we're now used to having been, you know, seeing WWE not take their time with any kind of a push or program. When somebody like AEW, when they do take their time and do stuff, like, honestly, I thought Omega and Hangman would have split long ago, but I think part of it is just I've been conditioned to the fact that, okay, well, we only got a storyline that goes from pay-per-view to pay-per-view, and I think AEW is taking things out further, which I think it's great because you get hooked in more.
Well, they're doing it right too, where they're doing like a 2 or 3 month pay-per-view. They're not doing one every 3 to 4 months.
And I think the other part is that's why it's easier for me to shell out $50 to watch their pay-per-view, because it's not every 3 weeks.
Yeah. Hey,
5 weeks.
Never mind my Evolve comment. Apparently, the WWE just bought them out.
Yeah,
they
did.
Garbage. And the thing about Evolve that a lot of people don't know, which is really interesting, is if you go through their roster and just go and like research them, a lot of how they did business is what AEW did. Like AEW stole a lot of their formulas for management and roster control.
Yeah.
Evolve was huge, man. That was like if like go back and watch some of those if you haven't. Those were great matches.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with any of that free talent, because you got guys like Kurt Hawkins, Zack Ryder, and stuff where you haven't even heard anything about them.
Yeah,
they're just kind of out there doing their thing. So,
who's the biggest? Is Gallo? Like, who's the biggest free agent right now?
Biggest free agent is probably Rusev.
Really?
I think so.
How boring is that?
Well, it's only, so here's the thing. It's only boring when you look at him in terms of the framework that he had to live with. But every time they said, okay, here's what you do, he made it happen. I mean, Rusev.
Yeah, but he looks like a little show. Like he's fucking garbage. Like he's so weird. He looks like a fucking bowling ball fucked the bowling pins.
Yeah.
And I'm a Mick Foley guy, so I'm not like body shaming or anything like that. But it's like the problem that I always had with Rusev is like they want him to be the muscle, but he's just not that archetype. It's like when they tried to fucking push over Spike Dudley as like this giant killer. It's like, yeah, it's fun to watch a little bit, but it's just not sustainable. I think Rusev is garbage. I'm putting that out there.
I think Slater is the big ticket.
I think he's a sleeper. Anderson and Gallows, I think, were absolutely underused in WWE in comparison to what they were doing in Japan. But whatever.
I think Heath Slater is probably under. Like, I mean, that guy is pretty underrated. He also made Rhino look okay for a while.
Yeah,
Rhino.
Perfect.
Yeah,
a poor man's Batista.
Right, exactly. No, that's the thing with Slater is like he did 14 years there and really never got a great chance except for Nexus that they blew.
Well, and he never bitched about it. That's what I like. The guys like even Dean Ambrose. Like I love the guys that don't really get that shot and they don't bitch about it till they're out of the promotion. They just fucking take their lumps and deal with it. I respect that.
Right. Yeah.
You're in a contract that you signed. It sucks that that's not better for you, but whatever.
Right. I really was hoping though that we'd see Heath Slater go to AEW. I thought that would be a lot of fun. But I mean, Impact's cool too. I mean, Impact's like we've talked about this. Impact's upping their game.
Yeah,
they're signing some good talent.
Impact is just too far behind. I feel like.
Yeah, well, I thought too. But I mean,
I don't know that. Here's the thing. I don't know that they're far behind. I think their biggest problem is they are not in a spot. They've not been in a consistent spot where people can watch it. And it becomes like when it's work for people to go out and find stuff, it's not that tough. That's one of the things. It's like you and I both love the NWA stuff.
Yeah.
And there hasn't
Spot
been
Fest, baby.
Dude, but there hasn't been anything for at least 3 months now. And I mean they're trying to do stuff, but it's like I'm not interested in that. I want to see that old school in the studio wrestling.
Right, because what they were doing is they were hitting a niche market that there's clearly a demand for. Because, I mean, again, and I'm sure all of us are old enough to where, like, I remember watching wrestling Saturday mornings, and that's how it felt. I remember the first time I saw the reboot for NWA. My buddy told me about it, and I was like, oh, good, Billy Corgan, get fucked. Nobody cares. And then the moment I saw that first trailer, I was like, I was in. You see the powder blue fucking ring. You see the way the thing is. I'm like, I am into this. And then it it didn't disappoint me because I'm also like, so I know Colt Cabana. Like I've met that guy's from Chicago. He hangs out here all the time. A buddy of mine wrestles here, Billy Blaze. And so I've met Colt through Billy 5 or 6 times. Great guy. And so he's one of those guys that I've always just kind of earmarked and followed. And so when I first got into NWA, first off, can we talk about how that might be the best opening theme in all of wrestling history? That fire song. It's just fucking like you're pumped, like you're fucking like into the fire. You're like, yeah, let's go, bitches.
Yeah. It's anyway. Here we go. Saturday morning WWE squash matches in the 80s. Yeah, what the hell was that? Superstars?
Superstars. That's what it was. Yeah, Superstars.
Yeah.
That's all it was, and that's what I want. I feel like, to me, and this is why I really liked Ring of Honor when it was on the top, because Ring of Honor was getting back to that. Wrestling needs to get back to the basics of what it was. I swear to God, like, another thing that made me done with fucking WWE, stop kicking out of fucking finishing moves. That drives me fucking nuts. Because then it just becomes this weird-ass cumulative foothill. Like, oh, man, he just took a G5. Oh, shit, he took 5 of them. Oh, shit, here comes a 6. Now he's dead. Like, that's not how it works. Like, I get dramatically kicking out of one finishing move in a 20-minute match where it's going to come around and be razor sharp. But now it's getting to the point where you're getting 3 finishing moves per pin. Like, it's like that's not a finishing move then. It's just a setup.
And in the WWE, it's rarely ever a finishing move. It's usually a roll-up.
It's always a roll-up.
Well,
they might as well be a fruit snack. There's so many roll-ups in WWE.
All right, guys. We're at an hour right now. Let's run through our predictions for Fight for the Fall. And you get the card right there handy, Ace?
Here, hold on. What am I looking at? I'll get the card up.
Fight for the Fallen. Lucha Bros versus FTR.
Man, that's going to be awesome, I think.
Hold on, card.
Winner gets a truck, apparently. That's not actually.
Winner wins a truck.
Well, didn't they? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Butcher and the Blade stole their truck. Sorry.
Did they steal a truck? Who got the van? Does the best friend still have the van?
Yeah, it was.
As long as they still got their mom's van, I'm cool.
Okay, what do we got? Let's see. All right, I'm going Lucha Brothers on that one.
Yeah, I like a heel Lucha Bros. I'm with
So
that.
here's the thing. They drop them down. Like, this is the thing that all promotions do, right? You get a really close win to the baby face, and then they drop you down on the card and they feed the heels. They always do this. So this is a feel the heel move. Like, so not only are they gonna win, but look for it to be some nasty, like, fucking betrayal or something just dirty that people are booing. But yeah, they pull it out.
Right.
So here's the thing. I'm trying to put in my head, because we already talked about it a little bit, that the Bucks and FTR gotta get together. So I'm trying to figure out a way. I got a feeling maybe it's not a clean finish, and maybe the Bucks come out to save FTR, and this brings things out, and the Bucks win by, I don't know, or the Lucha Brothers win by disqualification. I don't know. I also don't feel like FTR can lose right out of the gate. I feel like the Lucha Brothers can lose and still not be affected. So I'm going to say that in some way, shape, or form, FTR wins.
Well, I think it's also their first big match, really.
Yeah.
On AEW, so. Yeah. I just like the heel Lucha Bros, so I'm going to cheer for him.
Well, I love them too, but
yeah. Nobody likes Dax Harwood, dude. They're going down. Sorry, Cash. Like, Cash, you're fine.
Right.
Get a solo career, because that dude's going to bog you down, and you're going to get squashed by some heel action, bro.
Next, they have Elite versus Jurassic Express.
Jurassic Express.
Yeah, I think they got to win.
And I will say this, and this is, you want to hear a real hot, unpopular take? The reason why I'm going against them is because Kenny Omega seems like the guy AEW likes to job. I don't know what's going on in their locker room or anything, but I feel like a lot of people in that promotion don't really like Kenny Omega. I mean, like, that's a dude that a year ago was headlining some of these things. Now he's a third wheel in a Young Bucks match. Get fucked, dude.
Well, I'll tell you what. I believe the last thing I read about that specific scenario was that
I think he froze.
Oh, did he? I was like, is that me?
I was like, is he just doing that? Or?
No, well, like, you and I were both standing there, so I'm like, did I lose internet?
Oh, no, it's just a glitch. Anyway.
That scared the fuck out of me. I was like, no, I just set up my capture card. I don't know how to do that again.
But I think I think Omega is building up talent, just like we talked at the very beginning. That's why the Bucks were not the champions and are not the champions, because they're building everything up around them. And I think Omega's doing the same thing. And I think ultimately, when he and Hangman finally split, that's going to be when his push back to the top starts, and I think it'll be within the next 8 months. But having said that, they're going to lose.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that that Hangman and Kenny Omega are going to have their little breakup here soon.
Well, here's something interesting too, right? So what is the date of this pay-per-view?
Tomorrow,
15th.
It's not a pay-per-view per se. It's right on TNT.
So what are the odds that you see Gallows in that TBA match? Because they have one match with the Nightmare Sisters where they have not announced the other people. And it's a tag team match. And I'm not saying it's going to be necessarily, but I mean, like, there might be a match in there coming in that points to, not that one because that's a ladies match, but I mean, like there are some TBA stuff that points to that. But I mean, that's where you're going to see a lot of the people that signed. You're going to see them on that program.
Oh, and I was trying to also figure out, like, I couldn't remember if there any female talent that was released that might be a big get.
Yeah, I don't know.
It wasn't from WWE, but Tessa Blanchard is up in the air and all. But everybody says that she's going to be
get though. Like,
oh, it's a huge get. But
did Brian Pillman resign?
Yeah. Well, did he sign?
I think he kind of signed. He was on Dark.
Something happened with him
last week.
AEW, I think.
I just want fucking Man Scout in AEW. God damn it, get it there.
Man Scout.
Oh yeah, Kylie Ray should be up, right?
Kylie Ray's an Impact.
Yeah.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Yeah. Impact now.
And Valkyrie signed also, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, they don't really have any, like, Kelly Klein maybe, but she's injured all the time.
Right. So I mean, Tessa could be that big name, but the other thing too is Tessa's not coming. She's still in Mexico. She refuses. Yeah. Apparently, she refuses to wrestle until the pandemic's figured out.
Which could be
why she ended up getting fired from Impact.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say fired because they tried to do the one-off with her, but apparently the price she was throwing at.
Did Jacob Fatu sign with anybody yet?
I don't know.
That's another guy that I wouldn't be surprised just because he's like a littler known guy. So like, because that's when you're looking at AEW, like, yeah, they're going to go out and get one or two big gets, but a lot of the gets that you're going to see are probably going to be on the indie circle, people that are working their way up. That's why, like, I wouldn't sleep on Man Scout. Also, if your audience hasn't watched Man Scout, go out there. Maybe the funniest thing I've ever seen since that gentleman rocking the dude to sleep.
Oh yeah, Gentleman Jarvis.
Yeah. Okay, so next match would be Moxley and Cage for the AEW World Championship.
Cage.
Yeah.
No, I don't think Moxley's going to lose.
I'll tell you why.
I think the reason is that he's not going to lose is because that's why Taz gave him that FTW belt, and that's going to become a thing.
Taz is with Brian Cage, though. That's why Cage is going to win.
Yeah, so...
And it's literally going to be Taz is going to fuck him. It's going to be like one of those manager shots when the ref isn't looking.
I hope so, because they haven't had any moves like that. You need that. If you're going to have managers...
Right, but like specifically, if you're bringing... Like, this is the thing about Taz. Taz is one of the most underrated wrestlers of all time, and if that dude hadn't got injured, he would be a huge name that we all know. People remember him as a commentator from WWE, but his wrestling days, again, as an ECW guy, I watched it, man. Like, him and fucking Sabu had some wars.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that if he's participating on the manager standpoint, because if they were bringing him in to not participate, he would have been in the commentator booth because he's a great commentator. He probably doesn't want that. He wants the limelight, but he's not good enough to actually wrestle because he's not healthy enough. But he is enough to be involved in a storyline where he's there to watch his friend win, and Moxley has all the shine right now. So you can get Cage over, and then it doesn't even hurt Moxley. So again, if you have Taz totally job him, you can give the win to Cage, you can do it again, and then when Moxley beats them both, it's even bigger.
Yeah, that's... You know, the thing with Moxley too is it's like you said, he wouldn't be hurt by losing it all.
He wouldn't, like, especially if it's a manager job situation, specifically in AEW where this hasn't happened before. They can play the next promo for the rematch about how, like, we left the other promotion to get away from this bullshit. Fuck you, you know, like shit like that, and then it comes back. But I don't believe Taz is there managing unless they were going to give him the win. I just don't believe it.
Yeah.
And Dan brings up a good point.
Who's Dan?
Dan Frank.
Okay.
This is a great point. Archer was the same thing. Archer came in, and I love Lance Archer, and Jake is his manager, and he lost to Mox and didn't miss a beat. I mean, he's still just squashing the shit out of people. In fact, on Wednesday, he squashed the shit out of Joey Janela, and it was great. But the thing is, I just don't think they're going to take that belt off Moxley. I just don't think they're going to do it.
I think they'll do it, but I think it's like one of those instant rematches. Like, I think they'll take it off some bullshit, specifically Taz related, and then they will loop it back so that when they, like, it's all, the entire promotion then becomes, and then you can do all the cool fucking spots where, like, every time Moxley is there, maybe Taz is there fucking with him. Every time Cage is there, you can do all these build-up spots, and then you can roll it into your pay-per-view, and now Moxley is the underdog and the fan favorite. The babyface goes over insane.
Yeah, the other thing too is, Lance Archer, like, he's a big guy, but he's not Brian Cage,
right?
And Brian Cage, like, to be fair, Brian Cage is one of those guys where, like, he's a young big dude. They need more of that. Like, if the AEW keeps doing what they're doing, they're gonna turn into fucking Ring of Honor or WWE, where it's just a fucking seniors tour on the championship belt circuit. You can't do that. You have to let some of these younger guys get a crack.
Plus, what he can do at that size is pretty.
Oh, dude, and Cage. I mean, like, Cage is a very underrated wrestler. I feel like Brian Cage is fucking phenomenal, and he looks the part. Like, he looks more like a world championship wrestler than Moxley does. Way more than Jericho does. If you're just going off looks, you know what I mean? Like, just the presentation. But more importantly, he's younger. They have to get these belts away from these older guys. You can give them back. You can go back and forth. But if you park the belt too long, then you end up waiting. There's a really good article interview that I saw with Undertaker, and it was about the streak being broken by Lesnar. And he talked to McMahon about it, and Undertaker's a company man. He wasn't fighting to win. He's just like, are you sure you want to do this? And McMahon said, well, I don't know that I want to do this, but if we don't have Brock Lesnar beat you, who's it going to be?
Yeah.
And there's something interesting about that plays over, is that, like, if you're going to get the belt to where, because where AEW was really accelerating, in my opinion, was that early on, that belt was rotating all around. Like, Jericho had it for a while. You had Dusty had it for a while. Now Moxley has it. They just rotated around a bit. And what you need to do is you need to inject that. But more importantly, it helps get you over. And specifically with the manager being Taz, it helps get you over with a piece of credibility that will only help your promotion. And you can take the belt right back to him. What it'll do is it'll up his stock. It'll up Moxley's stock when he wins again, and that becomes like if Moxley loses his belt specifically off some bullshit to Taz, it makes the promotion of the pay-per-view of that rematch the best thing ever. Like, it sells all the tickets, because there's nothing like the problem that the AEW is running into is the exact problem the Undertaker had before Foley showed up. You can have a gimmick, you can have a world beater, but unless you have that rival, you don't have it. And even though Moxley and Jericho were fucking around, Dusty, I mean, fucking, they had to have Dusty fight Cody, for God's sakes. Like, they just don't have these foils. And Cage represents a legit, fun, young heel. You have to promote that. You have to.
Yeah, I'm all for Cage, man. I love that guy. He's the best. Literally is the best. So I'm always going to back up Brian Cage, since he's always been kind to me. So he's winning. And then, of course, Cody Rhodes, Sonny Kiss, AEW TNT Championship. This match caught stuff online because people can't handle Sonny Kiss having a shot at a title, but it's going to be a good match. Both are athletes. Both are going to be.
Cody wins that handstand.
Oh, for sure. Cody.
Like, that's, like, honestly, I think, and this is kind of a weird thing to say, but, like, I think it might even be a squash match. Like, why the fuck is Arns in there? Like, fuck you.
Right. The only reason I don't think it'll be a squash match is because too much came out online, like, of Cody and Dustin having to tell people to, like, stop talking because people were upset that a gay man was getting a shot at a title and voicing their opinion online. So, I mean, they're going to make Sonny Kiss look good, but I mean, it's going to be interesting to see when and who Cody eventually will drop this title to, especially with the whole open challenge things that he's been doing, where he'll bring people who aren't necessarily signed in. Very interested to see when that's going to eventually happen and who it'll be.
Yeah. And that goes back to the fact that it's like, because of the pandemic, I know he hasn't held that belt for that long, but it seems like he's had it for a year.
Right, and I think that rotation is also part of it. Like, it's part of why I'm picking Cage. And maybe
Yeah.
Maybe Kiss wins. I don't know. Like the way that they're trying to appeal all across the board, that wouldn't surprise me necessarily, but I just don't see it. It seems like the Vince McMahon problem. I think AEW has a little bit of a Cody problem, and I think people don't really know that yet. But if you look at it, there were very opportune moments for Cody to drop that belt that he never did, and I think that that's more him being the boss. When's the boss going to drop the belt? Fucking never.
Yeah, that also he's the only one that gets to come out from underneath the stage and has the grand entrance. There's definitely since day one favoritism.
But here's the thing. Like full disclosure, full just being okay. I'd do it if I own the promotion too.
Oh yeah. You got to think too the shit he went through at WWE.
Dude, fucking what was that fucking Stardust or whatever the fuck it was? He's entitled to fucking having that belt for 3 more years, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just off Stardust as a gimmick.
Right.
Definitely. And I just my whole thing is the thing that really cemented it, and I think that you guys probably know, and it sounds like Dan's a pretty big fan here, so he probably knows. But I feel like the thing that the casuals don't understand is Cody doesn't even get over without Dustin. Dustin put him over in that brother match. And that's the thing that it's weird to watch it's weird to watch the AEW fuck over Cody after he basically fuck over Dustin after he put Cody over, and now he's just kind of this afterthought. Even though the thing that people don't realize with Dustin is that Goldust was more than a gimmick. He is a very good wrestler. Yeah. And that brother match is one of the quintessential matches that was in a time, because that was Double or Nothing. I think that was their first or second pay-per-view. I mean, that was a make or break moment. And the way that he just let Cody get over on him, and he never bitched about it. He never, the thing about Dustin, and this is so interesting, you hear him in interviews and stuff, he's never bitched about WWE. He doesn't bitch about people. It's just not what he does. And I think that I think that if Cody was going to drop that belt, he would have weaved it in for Dustin to have it, just because that's the connection. If I don't get it, fucking another Rhodes will have it,
Well, and Dan brings up a good point. I mean, he's been ready to call it quits. But the fact is, the guy's almost 50 or 50 plus, right? I mean,
yeah, but he also, again, as technical of a wrestler as he wasn't a high flyer. And if you go back and watch a lot of in his prime matches, a lot of what he was doing was gimmick-oriented pauses. He may be old, but his body is way younger than some of the people younger than him. I mean, he wasn't taking bumps like other people were in that era. I mean, go back and try to find a point where Goldust took a chair shot. You can't, there's 2 or 3 of them maybe. And for a marquee wrestler in the 90s to get out of WWE with only a few chair shots, I mean, that didn't happen. I mean, fucking there was a moment where Big Show only took chair shots, and he no-sold those so they gave him more.
Holy cow. Yeah. Speaking of, knees are something that I think a lot of them.
I don't think any wrestler has their original knees. After about 10 years, boom. And even Foley, Foley's got fucking knees, hips.
We talk about Rey Mysterio being 85% plastic.
It's true.
Oh yeah, it's more aerodynamic. What's he gonna do?
Yeah, right.
And the plastic hips help me flip faster.
Right, and he'll be down another eye after Sunday. So.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're at.
It has to be him losing that match then, just because of the CGI, right?
Well, to be real honest, if the only way that match can end and actually be me being that was worth it is Dominic has to turn on Ray and take Seth's side in that match.
Yeah, he has to take the eye.
It has to happen.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%.
So, I don't know. We'll see how they screw it up.
Corey, it's been great having you on with us. Tell everybody about your
hi.
Show.
My name's Corey Adam, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Corey.
I run Twitch Talk. Twitch Talk is a talk show, audience incorporated. So if you have Discord, you can hop in and be part of it. What we're basically doing is we're doing an open format radio show that's basically dictated and piloted by the listeners. So we're trying to get all the listeners into one central Discord, which we give during every episode, and you can pop in. So if you think something I'm saying is garbage, you can get on the mic and be like, hey, dude, you're garbage. But it's at Corey Adam Comedy on Twitch. If you don't have Twitch or you don't have an account, we also post all the videos over on the YouTube. So you can go over to YouTube at Corey Adam Comedy Comedy and watch them, but those ones aren't live broadcasts. The only place to see it live is on Twitch, but that is Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then I also recently picked up my capture card. We had a fundraiser, that donation thing that I was doing last time, Russell. We hit our mark 10 days before it was over.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I got an Elgato 4K capture card. So I've been doing a lot of games. Currently, I'm playing Sea of Thieves. I also play a lot of MMA games, like a lot of UFC and stuff that you can see on there. So, I mean, come in, if follow Corey Adam, Corey ADM Comedy on Twitch, twitch.tv/Corey Adam Comedy, and Monday through, and then every Thursday, we have Russell is on the show talking wrestling. And Big Ace, I don't know what you do on Thursdays, but if you want to join us for a wrestling talk, man, you're always welcome. I love, this is so cool. It's interesting with wrestling because, we're somehow in an era where being geek is cool, liking professional wrestling still isn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like every other fucking geek out. It's like they're fucking kink shaming us for liking fucking chair shots or some shit, you know?
Right. That's so true.
Right. It's just it's awesome to see that you guys are doing this and just doing a wrestling. I think wrestling needs more representation because I think there's a lot of people out there that watch it that just don't own up to it. You know, I mean, they're not selling out arenas by people that don't want to see wrestling. That's not happening, guys.
Exactly. Yes, definitely.
Beautiful. Well, all right, Corey, thank you so much for taking the time to come on with us tonight.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thanks. We'll do it again, man. Thanks for having me.
I will look forward to talking with you on Thursday. Big Ace, you got anything coming up?
Probably next week will be the next Briscoe Big Ace show. I believe we're working on a guess. Maybe Hager. I don't know. I got to talk.
Sammy Hager?
Right. No, it might be Jake Hager. We might pop up with a show this week too. I don't know. I actually haven't.
Sammy Hager and Jack Hager?
Right. But otherwise, if you want, you can go to vocnation.radio.com and you can check out the audio versions of our show. And you can go to the YouTube Briscoe and Big A show and catch up on our last few episodes.
Oh, one more thing. Don't forget to go to the shop and buy your 2 Count t-shirt.
Yeah,
for God's sakes, please.
Yeah. But yeah, also check out our YouTube and check out our episodes. Wes just put up
Fair. You're not wrong. That does hurt me, but you're not wrong.
Right. Wes just posted a cool video of him cooking some mahi-mahi.
I saw that.
Fishing. Check that out. He's very proud of it. He did a really good job. Wes he likes cooking, man. He's actually.
By the way, has he dropped any hints about any Aces and Eights reunions?
Not that I've been told. No, I haven't heard anything. So, he's always open to it. I've been saying he'd be a good bring-in for the TNT challenge with Cody because everybody wants to see some Rhodes and Briscoe action because it's history.
Oh, God, Briscoe, man.
You know what I'm saying? So
I want the Briscoes out of Ring of Honor so bad.
Right?
Just leave. Go get
different families, though. Those Briscoes aren't even the...
Really?
Yeah, they're not related.
How the fuck? But they're the same last name?
It's
or is that
different. They have an E at the end of theirs.
That's funny. I always thought they were the same Briscoes. That's hilarious.
I think the story is they're fans of Wes's Uncle Jack.
Okay. Well, who isn't? Jack Briscoe's the man.
Right? One of the best ever. So,
yeah,
that's why I think that's the story I heard at least. But yeah, otherwise, check out our episodes with me and Wes. We got the Chavo Guerrero, the Dr. Tom Pritchard, and the Heath Slater episodes all up there. And
damn, you guys get people on that show. Shit. I didn't know I was rubbing elbows with a fucking celebrity. You fucking have me on, you giggle in front of your pop action figures, and I'm supposed to know I respect you? Get fucked.
I just hang out, man. He does all that.
He's a poor man's Conrad, is what he is.
Basically, that's really what it is. We are definitely the
You're like the Al Snow of podcasts, bro.
Where there's SmackDown. Yeah, it's horrible. No, it's a fun show though, man. Check it out, dude. Yeah, dude, get shirts though too. I got the other one on. Are we not doing this one anymore though?
No, that's still up there.
Okay.
We have this one when he's in a ref outfit, and that one in case you just want to buy it for anybody.
Get the ref outfit. It's better.
Get the ref outfit, absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Dan and everybody watching. We appreciate it so much. We'll see you again next week on the 2 Count. Bye-bye.